Should be live now with Daniel Carr and Courtney Camp from Harrison Bruno. I'm going to let you guys take it away.
Okay, and we'll probably just wait a minute or two just to let if we have anybody else that's going to jump on, but we will get the presentation pulled up here real quick.
You see that okay, Courtney?
And John, are your students watching currently? Are they already on?
They're all here watching.
Cool.
Can you see my screen?
Yep.
All right.
Okay. Let's see.
Someone in the lobby. Do you see that, Courtney?
Yep, I got it.
You got them? Perfect.
Yep.
Okay. I'm handing it.
Cool. Oh, Daniel, do you want to wait a second to get that presentation pulled up so we can introduce you?
Sure.
Okay. Or just for sharing it? Okay. So we're just gonna wait one more minute just to see if anybody else is gonna log in, and then we'll do a little bit of an introduction, and then we'll get the presentation started.
Sounds good.
How's everybody's day going though?
Good.
Going pretty well. A lot of IT juggling this morning, but that's all right. I mean, that's the world we're living in.
Yeah, I've never done a presentation from my home before like this. Now it's just regular.
Exactly.
Yeah. Kevin, you're on mute, I think.
Patrick, what's the situation there for Sacramento School of Engineering and Science? Are you full? Which way are you?
Yeah, we are fully distant right now. So we have on my end, let's see, I think 15 students or so who have joined the Zoom session on our end from their homes, and then we're all teleporting in. I am coming to you from my house. Turns out this morning I learned that Teams is blocked on our school network. So I had to run home and get connected here instead.
Shoot, sorry. Well, thank you for doing that.
Oh, hey, no, thank you all. This is an awesome opportunity for our students.
That's right.
Okay, I see Karen.
And Courtney and Daniel, I think we are ready to go ahead and have you start.
Okay.
So I'll turn it over to you guys.
Okay, thank you. So I just wanted to say hello. I'm Courtney Camp. I am the HR director at Harrison Bruno International, and we are a manufacturing company located out of Roseville, California. And I have with me Daniel Carr, who's our plant manager, and he does all of the manufacturing engineering functions for our company, as well as running our facility and managing all of the production departments. So he's got a pretty big role. He's going to be here today talking on behalf of the plant manager manufacturing engineering portion of his role, and talking a little bit about something called lean principles and how we apply them and how that helps the functions of our facility. And just really quickly, if you guys on the call, the educators here want to just introduce yourself and your classes, that'd be great as well. And actually, you know what? Before we do that, Daniel, can you say hi? I didn't give you an opportunity.
Hello, I'm Daniel Carr, plant manager at Harrison Bruno. I'm happy to be here with you today.
Okay, cool. And maybe, yeah, you can jump on. And I know you already spoke a little bit about your School of Engineering, but if you want to introduce your class.
Yeah, hey, we're the School of Engineering and Sciences. We are a 7 through 12 school in Sac City Unified School District. So we have on my end 11th and 12th grade students who are joining us this morning to participate. So I'll be soliciting their questions and then transferring them on your way.
Cool.
Awesome.
And then we've got John Fuller as well. So John, do you want to say hi?
Yep, my name is John Fuller. I teach engineering and manufacturing over at Roseville High School, and the same situation. Hopefully at the end of the class, I will sort of facilitate any questions that my students may have to you guys.
Cool. And is there anybody else on? I see Karen Fraser Middleton on here. So just hi, Karen. Do you want to say hello or no?
Hi, nice to see you all. I'm driving, so I'll turn off my mic.
Okay, great. Okay, so we're going to flip it over to the presentation now, and what we'll do is we'll lose video of us during the presentation, but if you guys want to type in any questions that you might have via chat during that time, when we're done with the presentation, we will turn our video back on and I'll field some questions either through the chat, or if somebody wants to queue up their mic and talk, that's fine as well. But so we will jump right into that, and then at the end we'll field any questions, okay? So Daniel, you can go ahead and get started on the presentation now. Okay, so thank you guys again for joining us for this manufacturing day. So every year in October, we have what's called Manufacturing Day, and it's something that is presented out there just to get the knowledge of the industry of manufacturing and what those types of positions are and how to get involved and how to become somebody that works in manufacturing. And we like to partner with schools in the area. Usually it looks different. Usually it is in person and we're doing a tour of our facility and showing different things. But this year's different for everything. So we are now doing it virtually. And we're just really happy that you guys are able to jump on and just learn a little bit about Harrison Bruno and this career field manufacturing engineering with us. You can move slides, Daniel. Okay, there we go. So Sacramento Valley Manufacturing Initiative is who we are presenting this through today. So SVMI is an organization in the Sacramento area. So Greater Sacramento, it's got Placer County and all different counties in the area that are manufacturers coming together to help partner with educators to develop vocational, educational, and workforce initiatives so that we can help just show people what it means to be in manufacturing, the type of careers that are there, let people know it's here, and there's actually a huge need for employees in the manufacturing area. That's probably one of the biggest challenges in being in manufacturing in the Sacramento area, is getting that pipeline of really skilled workers that are able to work for us. We're all kind of competing for the workforce right now. So this is why we are doing this type of outreach, is to let people know, hey, there's jobs and they pay well and they're fun, and come work with us. So that's what Sacramento Valley Manufacturing Initiative is involved in. So Harrison Bruno itself, our company, we are a company that's been in business since 1948. We started out in the Bay Area, and then we migrated up to Roseville, California in the 80s. So we've had that location there since the 80s. It's family owned. So Nick Bruno is the owner of our company. He's the president. And his dad actually started the company in 1948, and then he bought him out as an adult and took over. And he really developed it into the company it is today, which is we are focused on printing. So the printing industry, and very specifically the portion of the printing process that regulates how the overcoat lays down on the substrate. So that can be paper, that can be plastics, that can be anything like a battery or a high-end makeup product. Those all have coatings that lay down on them and either give them the finish that the printer wants, so the look that they want it to, or maybe the protection that they want. It's a huge industry that's international. We have customers all over the world. We have all of our manufacturing happening in Roseville, California. All of our engineering happens there, but we do have a location in Germany as well that does sales and service. And then we also have some representation in Japan, in China, and then we have different dealers all over the world that may help us in other countries. So we really do have a very large international presence, and it's really cool to know that our equipment that's getting made here in the US, in the Sacramento area, is going all over the world. And then at this point, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Daniel, and he's going to give you guys an overview of his career, how he got into manufacturing, how he's developed into the role that he's in today, and then just what he does at our company currently.
Hello, everybody. Like we met before, I'm Daniel Carr. I'm originally from Huntington Park, California. I moved to Sacramento in about 1995, my sophomore year of high school. After high school, I went to work right away. I had a family very young, so I've been working for many years now in manufacturing. During that time of me working in manufacturing, I actually started going to a community college, actually 2 of them. I went to Sacramento City College in conjunction with Cosumnes River College, where I earned 2 degrees, one in general business and one in business administration. And at the time when I was in manufacturing, I was trying to find a way out of manufacturing, as my father was in manufacturing and he was a plant manager just like I am today. My father worked for a plastic company, and he allowed me to work with them at a very young age, where I learned how to be a machine operator, and I learned also some leadership skills from him, as he was a leader there for about 200 to 250 people on 3 shifts. So I was able to work with them as a utility worker first, and then I moved into machine operating, and I got my career started in plastics, where I continued to work and go to school. Once I finished and got my 2 degrees in the community colleges, I went on to DeVry University, where I went and got my bachelor's degree in technical management. And in that time, I focused on project management. As I started to go further in my career, I found out that project management was going to be an important part, because there was a lot of planning and strategic scheduling that I would have to do for events that I was planning. And the events that I was planning were events for like continuous improvement. So continuous improvement events became kind of my niche in helping companies achieve efficiencies and achieve effectiveness in manufacturing with their processes and stuff like that. So my career started with my father, but I tried to get away from manufacturing. So I'll kind of give you a high level view of what I did. So my first working career was, I was a utility worker, pizza driver, delivery driver, an airport mail unloader, and I worked at Subway part-time. So it was a weird part of my life where I had multiple jobs trying to support my family. Well, lo and behold, I came back to manufacturing and became a machine operator again. And I became a really good one. Anything I ran, I owned. I made sure that I ran it the best I possibly could, and I figured it out with statistical controls. And I did that while I was going to college. So I was using statistics to run my machines to make sure I was getting efficient with what I was doing every day and getting better every day. So continuous improvement mindset. From there, I became a lead, then a supervisor, a manager, director of operations, a focus factory manager, and a partner. My contributions to the company helped me land a partnership with that company. And then we sold to a acquisition, and we had an acquisition where we sold to Acuity Brands Lighting. And this is where my career changed, where I became more focused on using lean manufacturing tools, becoming more of that manufacturing engineer on the floor rather than the leader that was just trying to get stuff done. I was really trying to take waste out of all of our business processes and systems with this new role that I had. So this company really helped me to focus on becoming this lean guru. And I took that to other companies. I went to Mill Garden, where I worked with 300 plus people on the floor doing major events. And it was a big part of my career, as I was able to take part in these events that were actually helping the company move the needle for profits and making money. So from there, I came to Harrison Bruno to take all those tools and all those new things that I learned over the years, and I brought those things to Harrison Bruno to help the teams there realize the savings they weren't getting or the profits they weren't realizing. So now for the last 4 years, we've been working on a lean transformation to actually convert Harrison Bruno to a lean company. And we've done great things to actually add profit to that bottom line by using manufacturing engineering to actually change our processes, to remove waste from our cycle times, to remove process steps that are unnecessary, and just become more efficient at what we're doing. So my next roles, now I'm a plant manager, and I consider now I'm actually part of the executive team, so I'm an executive plant manager. My next role would be a VP, president, CEO, or even an owner of my own company someday. And that's what I'm looking for as my next steps. So I know there's a lot about what I went through, but everyone's path is different. My path ended back in manufacturing, but I feel like I don't manufacture right now. I help grow people. And I help grow people through manufacturing and engineering processes by helping them realize what we can do to be better tomorrow. And we do that on a daily basis. So I'm going to go through some slides here and show you what we do at Harrison Bruno. Some videos will be going on, and I'll talk you through what's happening to kind of show you the process steps we go through when we're actually trying to engineer our processes on the floor to match our products for our customers. All right, so first I want to go over what the definition of lean manufacturing is, just because I'm going to mention it here a little bit. So the definition of lean to me is the maniacal pursuit of the elimination of waste in all business processes and systems with the goal of providing products and services with world-class quality and delivery to drive down costs. That's the best definition I've seen, because the best part about that definition is the first couple words, the maniacal. We got to be a bunch of maniacs out there trying to reduce that waste, trying to remove cycle time steps, trying to remove time from that process so we can be more efficient in capturing costs and capturing a profit at the end of the year. So lean manufacturing is the foundation for all of our processes and controls at H&B on our shop floor and in our offices. It allows us to stay on top of the competition in regards to cost, quality, and it helps employees stay motivated and connected in regards to objectives and culture at H&B. Through nonstop communication and collaboration between all departments daily using our daily Gemba management process, we actually visit all of our leads for every department and we talk about their issues. What I like about the Gemba walk is that we're actually able to connect with leaders. That means taking managers from all different parts of the company, material, plant manager, HR managers, it doesn't matter. They come to our walk and they learn how to help our employees on the floor. Now, before this process happened, there was a lot of silos. We didn't have a lot of communication. We didn't have a lot of problem-solving structure going on. But today we do. Those walls are knocked down because our daily Gemba walk is helping our teams to voice their issues without feeling afraid to do so. And it's also allowing us to make new processes and change things to help our customers' products be better in the field. And it helps us keep our doors open, helps our employees stay working, and it helps us grow our team in the future. So this whole lean initiative that we're doing is a big part of our manufacturing engineering process because we are always constantly trying to improve what we're doing there. So these pictures you're seeing here is an actual continuous improvement event that we went through with many cross-functional team members to help us get one process fixed. It was a little time consuming and it was a little unsafe. When we were done, we felt very confident and very comfortable with our process. And today we still use that process and we improve it here and there with improving our standard work documentation, or we improve it by taking our manufacturing engineers and holding another event to even take more waste out of it. But the point is, we want to make sure everything is nice and easy for our operators. So we need our manufacturing engineers to help drive those process changes on the floor in order for us to be successful. And what you're seeing here is our team actually making changes. They are empowered to make things better so we can make things easier and smoother for our processes so it can translate to a lower cost for our customers and higher profits for us, of course. So what you're seeing here is these guys are actually developing the process and working out every little detail of that process. And then they're going to document it and they're going to pass it on. Now, not one person in this picture is a manufacturing engineer by title, but when you become part of Harrison Bruno and you join one of these Kaizen events, you are a manufacturing engineer because you are helping us change those processes. You are helping us change something that you might not be part of, but your ideas are so valuable, we need them to make the changes. So when we go out there and we have a brand new product launch, we need to have these type of conversations, these type of recognitions and awards for our people for making those changes and helping us get there. And that's what you see happening right here is we're actually rewarding and congratulating our people for making the changes and helping us get there. And this is something that we do daily at Harrison Bruno. It's not something that's just short-lived. It's something that's part of our culture now. Okay. So this is a video of an event that we had where we were going to have a new product line being developed. So we had to take our manufacturing engineers and some of our managers, and we had to relay out our entire plant to be able to move new CNC equipment into the building. And this wasn't an easy thing to do because we actually have no space. So we actually had to make the space. And during this time when we were making the space, we were actually consolidating 2 buildings into one. So these guys, this manufacturing engineering team that held this continuous improvement event, actually made it possible for us to get that machinery in the building and work with our assembly teams on the floor who used to live in another building. So there was a lot of thought pattern that went into this, a lot of processes that were developed, and also flow was considered when we were doing this. Flow of how material was going to go through the shop, flow of how people were going to flow through the shop with that material. How are we going to package it? How are we going to get it out the door to our customers, right? These are all things that had to be considered before moving this equipment into the building. And this is what our teams were doing here at this event. Constantly working to improve, constantly working to make things better, just to make sure that we can deliver to our customers. And we always live in the mindset that our customers or our competitors are out there doing this every day to try to beat us. So our manufacturing engineers, or people we deem as manufacturing engineers at these continuous improvement projects, are very important to us to be empowered to make these changes for us. And if we're not continually changing, then we might be closing our doors someday. And that's how the mentality needs to be. We need to continually strive to be better. We need to continually try to beat our competitors. And that's what we're doing on a daily basis here at Harrison Bruno with our manufacturing engineer processes. Watch that for a little bit. And what you're seeing here is these guys are actually building one of our big machines that actually went to Spain. That machine is working really well in Spain, and you can see a lot of detail that went into that machine. And we have very little quality issues to talk about when that machine's in the field. So that was a new product line that we started buying all of these machines for, and you can see that packaged up right there. When one's done, it's about 10 crates, and that goes out to our customers, and we are fully confident that we have everything we need in there because we have detailed processes to follow. And how do we do that on the floor? Well, our manufacturing engineers created standard work cards. So we actually have a set of cards that matches the hours to build a machine. So what we have is 435 hours to build a machine. Each one of those cards is laid out with hours, telling you what details and what key points you need to build those things. Without our manufacturing engineers doing that, our assembly teams would have to be figuring those things out on their own, and that's just no good for cost. So these teams are very important to us to be empowered to make these changes. And you can see those standard work cards down there. Now, the Gemba boards that you see behind you, you see red on those boards. We love seeing red on those boards. I mean, that's an opportunity for us to get better. At first, when you introduce this to a culture, red is hard for people to accept. Red is tough, right? But we love red because it shows that we're identifying issues. When we identify issues, we can identify solutions to fix those issues, and we're getting there. So I really think highly of our manufacturing engineers, and I think that they help the processes a lot when we have new products launched, and it also helps our assembly teams not feel that stress of having to figure those things out on their own. All right, so one of the best feelings in the world for a manufacturer is to be able to actually touch the product, watch the product that you built work. Now, oftentimes you might build a section of a product or a section of a machine or a sub-assembly, and you don't really get to see it work. You just ship it out. In our case, we're taking raw steel, raw aluminum, and turning it into these beautiful machines you see here today. And when you watch it go from beginning to end, you're actually seeing the progress and the timing, and we're talking about it every day. So what we're seeing here is a factory acceptance testing happening with our guys actually tweaking on it, making it better. And that feeling is one of the best feelings in the world because you took part in that build. You were part of that assembly, and now you know that's going to go to a customer site and run well. And that's a great feeling. And I hope someday you have that feeling when you start your own careers, whether it be in manufacturing or not. So I'll show you this last one here. It just kind of shows our teams working. Manufacturing can seem daunting to some people that are not involved in it today, but there's a lot of good things that happen in our manufacturing plant at H&B. There's a lot of camaraderie. There's a lot of teamwork. There's a lot of people always striving to do good things for the company and for our customers. We're very service and customer oriented, and all of our people from the assemblers all the way up to our president are the same way. And the good thing about what Lean has done for us is Lean has connected us, so we all have one common goal, and we're all striving towards the same goal, and that is to be efficient in delivering to our customers. We want to deliver on time. We want to deliver at the cost, so we can keep growing the company and keep hiring new people to do these things. For me, I don't build, I don't manufacture, but I grow people, like I said, and it's a treat to really watch people from all walks of life come in and learn how to do these things. Some people come in from high school and just learn how to do everything on the job, and they move up in ranks just like anybody else would. We have people coming from community college. We have and that actually have certificates in welding or certificates in CNC running, and they do great. They have excellent careers and make excellent pay. It's totally awesome to see that. Then we have guys and gals with masters that come in there, and they're our management team. There are engineers that are making these complex designs simpler and making our having our manufacturing engineers be able to build a product without having to go through so much crazy stuff to get there. And then also look at the family aspect of it. In manufacturing, we're all people, right? And that's why I think it was important to show this. We get together, we all have families, we all have our own things going on. But in the end of the day, we're all there to make one thing happen, and that's just to make the company stay alive and grow. And so we all can have our jobs in the future and continue to grow these jobs. So we're always looking for new people with new ideas, or have an open mind to just try things, because we need people with that open mind to help us to be empowered to be able to make changes. And how awesome is it to make a change and that change not have anything to do with status quo? It's something totally out of the box, and it works, and it saves money, and it saves time. It's an awesome feeling to be part of something like that. And these guys are all part of that every day. We walk the floor every day. We walk their boards every day, and they're proud of it. That's why we take pictures of them at their boards, because it's a big thing to be able to admit when something's wrong or something's out of whack and then go fix it. That takes a lot. Right? And that's the kind of people that manufacturing needs, because we can't just stay the same. Manufacturing is constantly changing every day, and we got to be able to change with it, or it'll get really frustrating. It can get really frustrating, and it can get out of whack. But with manufacturing engineers and people that are with open minds and willing to help us, we can make it easier. And then people don't have to be stressed, right? Everything will fall in line. But it takes that extra open mind and extra problem-solving ability to be able to say, hey, we're doing it this way. Let's try it. It didn't work. Let's try this then. Hey, that didn't work. Let's try this then. We need those type of people in manufacturing. So you might not be able to turn a wrench, or you might not be able to run a CNC, but maybe manufacturing engineering might be for you. And I've seen manufacturing engineers come from all walks of life, with degrees, without degrees, from a material buying standpoint. Some of those guys became some of my best manufacturing engineers because they knew the product inside and out. They knew the flow of how it should work and how it should come in and out of the plant. Those kind of things help when you're developing processes surrounding your products. So that's all I have for you. I hope that wasn't too much. I know I like to ramble there, but I wanted to make sure I got all the information I could to you about what we do at Harrison Bruno. And plus, I'm excited and I'm passionate about it, as you should be with whatever you're going to do in life.
Great, thank you, Daniel. There. Oh, what's going on with my? There we go. Thanks, Daniel, for that presentation and going over everything. I do want to give everybody an opportunity to ask any questions that they might have of Daniel or myself, just about the industry itself or how to get into the job. We did in the chat share, and Kevin shared a manufacturing careers and pay scale. So that's something that you guys can share with your class if you'd like, just to give an idea of what different jobs make, what the general pay scale in the areas are. But I'm going to turn it over, and you can either chat or you can just ask over the mic what your questions might be. And don't be shy.
One of our students had a great question, which was, what kept you motivated to keep going as you pursued your career? For many of our students right now, the circumstances are pretty tough. And so they're looking for ways to stay engaged, stay motivated, and really have that personal strength to keep pursuing their career goals. So what kinds of tips and tricks or advice do you have to help keep students on the path to a career in manufacturing?
Well, the first thing I could say is there is an end to it, right? You can get there. I'm proof of that. When I was working, I've been working in manufacturing for 27 years, and it sounds crazy, but I started life at 17 years old, and I've been working ever since. And what keeps me motivated is my roles have changed a little bit to where I get to watch people grow. So my motivation is not to feel the personal win anymore. It's to actually feel that person next to me that I'm helping grow have that win. So for me, getting up every day and going to work, I'm motivated to see the wins. I'm motivated to see the losses as well, so I can help them win. But the motivation for me is I love what I do, and I'm very passionate. I have 4 daughters as well that I'm raising, and that keeps me on the straight and narrow path for sure. But for you, I think do what you love. And for me, manufacturing, turning parts, that wasn't what I loved. But what I loved is that I did have a knack for getting in there and helping people understand the process and understand what they can do to improve the process or eliminate the waste from the process. And when you have those wins and you show somebody that's hard-headed or somebody that can't deal with change, that they can change and it can be better, that's motivating. That pushes me. That makes me want to go find the next person to do it with. Right. So that's just for me. Everybody's different. But you got to keep your head up and just know that whatever you want to have in your life and whatever you want to paint as your picture for your career, you can do it. The only thing holding you back is you. So stay motivated, stay progressive towards the path you want.
Thank you.
And, just a tangent off of what Daniel said about finding the thing that you like. That could be hard, and people find that thing in different ways. So some people discover they want to do that and they go to school for it and they love it from the moment they do. Other people go into the workforce and they figure it out. That was my path. I started in one job and then I liked this one function of it. So then I kind of pursued that, which then gave me an opportunity over here. And then I ended up doing the job that I love. So I'm in human resources, and I grew up with a construction dad and 3 brothers. So blue collar is what tends to align well with my personal life and what I'm used to. So I started out in a more blue collar company and then worked my way through. And, I hope there's some females on this call. Of course, I can't see any of the students, but if you are out there, I know I'm not in manufacturing, but I am a girl who had to work my way up and in a lot of blue collar companies. And part of what kept me motivated was proving to them that I could do it and that I was not going to let them win, if that makes sense, and in anybody's expectations of me. So that was a big motivator for me, was showing that, you know what, just because I'm a female or just because I'm young doesn't mean that I don't have the tenacity, that I don't have the intelligence or whatever it might be. So sometimes you have to dig deep and make yourself your motivation and just proving it, even if it's to yourself. So that's just another little tidbit there.
I would say that, I have 4 daughters, so I'm totally love that what Courtney just said right there. And I appreciate that, but you gotta stay strong and do what you want to do, and then you'll be happy. If you force it and you do something you don't want to do, or you're doing something that you shouldn't be doing because you should finish school, then that's going to haunt you. You need to do it.
Cool.
I had a question.
What other questions do we have?
I have a student asked, so we don't need a bachelor's degree to become a manufacturing engineer?
Not always. It depends on the company. So, there's a term in maritime that's called hose piping, and it's something that I love to use. And that means that you start at the entry level position and you work your way up. And that happens and a lot in different companies, but it really depends on the company that you're applying for. So some companies are super open to letting people come in without degrees, and if they can do the job, giving them the next promotion, building their career pathway. Other companies, they are very degree specific, and you can't even get a foot in the door if you don't have that degree. So if you know that you want to do a more technical role that might require a degree, it could serve you well to just go get that degree. One thing that Daniel touched on throughout, but I think is really important, especially in manufacturing, is pair your schooling with some hands-on experience. So find an internship or find a summer job or find a part-time job in manufacturing that allows you to see what it feels like to be in that environment, and also to give you some of that hands-on experience to really, like we talk about in mechanical engineering, for example, designing for manufacturability. How do you know how to do that if you've never put a part together or if you've never machined a part? So I think that's something that is important to do. These classes that you guys are taking are excellent for that too, because they're giving you some hands-on experience. But getting out there in a real manufacturing shop or a few and feeling that environment will help you know if that's what you want to do. And then you're not wasting your time at school, 4 years, and then you find out you don't like it. So definitely it's not a bad idea to get a degree if you do know that this is the field that you want to go into, but not always necessary.
And I would say that in my experience, I've had higher degree people without experience, and we had a rough time. And then I've had people that had no degree that just had a really good problem solving ability, that came up the ranks, and he was a material purchaser for us, and became one of the best manufacturing engineers I've ever met. So I think that it's really up to the person. But if you really want to pursue it, like Courtney's saying, you should have the paper, right? I went to school because oftentimes not having that piece of paper held me back, and I had a lot of years experience, but didn't have that piece of paper. So it does help to get that bachelor's degree, and it did change and open a lot more doors for me, and it also got me paid what I was worth.
Nice, thank you.
Does anybody else have any additional questions?
Yeah, we had a couple of more from our students.
Okay.
One of our young women on my end asked, how do you think your job fits with your personality and your personal goals? So, you know, you both work in manufacturing intensive environments. Do you find that really activates who you are as a person and meshes well with your career? And then in the alternative, have you encountered careers that you felt like, you know, the work environment just did not gel with who you were and how you wanted to be?
Mm-hmm. I mean, I'd say yes to both of those things for me. One, manufacturing really suits my personality type because manufacturing is fast. Like things change constantly. You are not going to sit down and be bored. So it doesn't matter at our company what role you have. It can be HR, it can be inventory, it could be sales, it could be, you know, an admin assistant. We're moving fast. And I always tell that to people. If that's not your personality, if you kind of like to just go with the flow and kind of take your own pace and, you know, you like to meander through your day, maybe we're not the company for you. And that's totally fine. But for me, I am a person that my attention likes to get pulled different ways, and I like to be challenged, and I like to kind of feel a little pressure, and definitely manufacturing does that. But I would say, yeah, it's really important to make sure that wherever you're working pairs with your personality and your how you like to work. And even if in the same field, different companies can be very different. So just keep that in mind. Just because you work at one place and it doesn't pair super well with your personality, that doesn't mean the field as a whole is bad for you. It just may mean you need to try it out somewhere else. And then if you're getting a pattern, maybe it's not for you. But you know, there's a lot of differences in different company sizes. I personally don't like to do HR for large companies because I like to feel like I have a voice and some autonomy, and I like to know the people, and I like to know the product and what we're doing. And the bigger you get, the more bureaucracy can happen. So for me, I like a mid-sized company. Some people don't feel that way. They really like to work for those huge, large corporations and have the name behind them and those kind of things. So personality is really important. And Daniel, I'm sure you can speak to that as well.
Yeah, for me, I'm a change agent. So I go into a company and you're not going to be the same when I come out of it, right? So I'm a change agent. So I usually get a lot of flack when I walk into a company and start changing things because people do not like change. Don't move my cheese is what we say, because if you move their cheese, you get a little hostility, a little resentment, a little pullback. So that always causes my job to be hard in the beginning. And when I interviewed at Harrison Bruno, I told them that it's going to be hard. The same people we start here today with won't be the same people we end with, because it's a different culture that we foster now, because it's a culture of responsibility and accountability. So for me, I love that when I can get the company to get to that point. But until I get to that point, I'm in a bad state because I'm trying to get it there. So I struggle a little bit with that. But once we get to the second and third year of the process of the transformation, you see the changes in the people, and then the culture that we've built is there. And then I fit in. I start fitting in because now everyone's waiting for me to ask that next question. Everyone's waiting for me to drive them to that next result. And if I don't, then they're like, hey, what's going on? Where are we going next, right? And that's what I need. I need that to keep pushing forward and keep driving forward. And when I feel I hit some point where we can't go forward anymore, and or the culture stopped growing, then maybe it's time for me to go try another culture and get them to get to that point. And that's just me. And I'm a change agent, so I expect that. I usually set goals for myself of like 5 years. Hey, we'll get to this point. I expect to be at this point. At that point, I might be leaving unless we go for the next step in our adventure. So for me, it's revolving all the time. It's changing all the time. And with Harrison Bruno, we have such a good team that was wanting that change and wanting those new initiatives. It was a lot easier here at Harrison Bruno for me to transition with this team.
Cool. These are great questions, you guys. I'm really impressed. We have time for just like maybe one or two more. So if you guys want to throw them at us, we can.
I got one more from our students. One of our young men asked, how does COVID affect your guys' work? I know that lands differently in a manufacturing environment than it might in other workplaces. Certainly, my education workplace is pretty upside down at the moment. But we'd love to hear a little bit about what your context right now looks like.
For me, as a manufacturer, as a plant manager, we always want demand coming through the door. That means we want units. That means we want to build products at the same rate or at a higher rate. So what we found through COVID is the world shut down. And when the world shuts down, demand shuts down. So what changed for us is we had to reduce our staff a little bit. We had to reduce our workload a little bit just to kind of compensate for what COVID was doing to us. And now that we're coming out of it and places are opening back up, you see that demand coming back. So how did it affect us? We had to make some changes. And sometimes those are rough changes and hard changes, but it was changes for the good to keep the company alive and working through these hard times. And that's how COVID's affected us.
Yeah.
Little bit of fear across the plant, when you're working and you have to wear a mask when you're working next to somebody, and it just causes some fear. And you have to deal with that fear. And sometimes you're playing a psychologist on the job, trying to work people through. No, are we doing stuff right? Are we doing stuff safe? Are you wiping down your work area? Are you wiping down your tools? Are you wearing your mask when you're within 6 feet? It's a different conversation, and it just added a different element to our job.
Mm-hmm. For sure, for HR, it was a whirlwind of fun for a minute there, but we're settling out. It's a lot of new rules, a lot of relaying those new rules. And like Daniel said, it is a lot of, psychology and just making sure people understand that we're doing our best to be safe and trying really hard to keep everybody there. But there's a lot of personal things happening too. People don't have childcare. People don't feel comfortable. They've got people with, they've got issues where they can get sick much easier. So you're dealing with a lot of that. So it was a fun couple of months just getting it all settled. But, it's weird because anytime you go through these kind of things, you almost feel like you come out a little better, and something about working together on something and finding the solutions and showing that we care and that we want it to be safe and we care about the people themselves, and we're going to do what we can to make it so that people can still manage to do work and kids. And, if they've got an issue that they need to quarantine or whatever, that we're there to support them. Those are the big things that help, you kind of come out with more of a sense of, okay, well, we trimmed some fat. We had a lot of good conversations. We know each other a little bit more because of all this crazy. So, there's always good that comes with the bad.
Yeah, I definitely think there was some flexibility that came out of our group that we never thought was possible, and now it's possible, and it makes our employees a lot happier. And I think that's great. She hit that on those perfectly.
Yep, a lot more teleworking is allowed.
Yep.
And I think that is going to be a huge change in business, is we're going to see a lot of employers having to offer some telework options for employees that can do it. So that's the interesting thing. People can design from home. They can do certain things. I'm doing this from home right now. I'm going to jump off this call and go into the office in a minute. So there's a lot more flexibility and differences in the schedules and what things look like too. Cool.
Can I sneak in one more question?
Yeah, sure.
Awesome. So you all had been talking a little bit about the different kinds of experience that can get you in the door in a manufacturing company. We're always curious to hear from industry about, how our students should represent the experience that they have had as a part of our high school engineering pathway. So, if you all could talk about how our students might shape their resumes and the kinds of things that they should highlight that they've had both from a content and experience perspective, that'd be super helpful.
Fantastic question. I love it. You guys are so good with this. So one thing that I always recommend people to do is bring examples. Show me what you've done. So not only bring it, if you can bring a picture of what you designed and made, if you can bring a blueprint that you worked on in SolidWorks or CAD or whatever it might be. If there's a video, sometimes people bring in physical items that they did. That's cool too. And the very, very important aspect of this is being able to speak to your part of the process. So if it's a group project, I want to know what you did, what you're responsible for, what your, what your issues might have been, how you overcame them. And I'm going to tell you right now, it's so easy to tell who didn't do the work on the group project, who phoned it in, because I'll ask people, what was yours? And they'll kind of hem and haw around it, won't be able to really speak very well to it. I know you're the one that didn't participate and let everybody else get you the grade. So do the work on the group project, be able to talk on it. And yes, definitely put in any kind of organizations that you were, if you volunteered, if you help in the shop class, if you lead certain group for something, that is something that's super, super important to highlight for your resume. And if anybody has any specific questions to that, please feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to help. And you can email, you can get in touch with SBMI and they've got my contact information. And I'm happy to kind of give some more advice on that.
And for me, I want you to, I'm going to ask you questions like, tell me the last time you told your boss no, or tell me about a time that you finished a project and you felt good about it, and tell me about that project. Tell me the last time you worked with a team and it was successful. Tell me about a time you worked with a team and it wasn't successful, and how did you feel about it and what did you do to fix it? Those are the kind of things that I would be asking you, because I want to make sure that you can mesh with the culture, right? I want to make sure you can tell me no, or tell me, hey, that might be wrong, right? Because I need that feedback too. Without that feedback, a plant manager is nothing, right? I'm only as good as my assets, and people are my greatest assets. So be able to speak up to your boss and I ask those questions.
Okay, cool. Well, thanks you guys. That is all the time that we have today, but I just really want to thank you guys for jumping on and listening and having such good questions, both schools. And like I mentioned, if you guys have any additional questions, just feel free to reach out and we are happy to answer them.
Thanks, Harrison, Bruno. Thank you guys. We'll see you.
Thank you. Have a good rest of your day.